Spinda and Tambourine Borelli. Tambourine is the very first tambourine I will have ever met. Haven't had her on the show before. Kat has been on, though, and Kat highly recommends me introducing her to you, Tambourine, that is. And also Sam Anthony had both. He was on the show with both of them and said he really enjoyed it. So he said, Charlie, you got to meet these two. If you've tried to go to any government building today, it's a national holiday. Did you know this? Did you know this? Did the media report on this? Do you know what the national holiday is celebrating? Some Islamic celebration. DMVs are closed today. All government buildings are closed today. It's a federal holiday. So why is the DMV closed, which is a state government agency, on a national holiday? I don't know. We're paying them not to work. Of course, we pay them not to work pretty much every day, don't we? But it's, I get my glasses here. This is something I had no idea. I know about Ramadan. I know about several other Islamic celebrations. This one is Eid al-Fitr, the first of two main festivals in Islam. The other being Eid al-Adha. It falls on the first day of Shawwal, the 10th month of the Islamic calendar. It's a national holiday and government buildings are closed today. Now, this thing happened over the weekend. It was Saturday and Sunday, but they get Monday off. What the heck is it? Eid al-Fitr? Fitr? Not only do I not really know how to pronounce it, but I don't really care. Who proposed this? Who made this happen? How come the media never talked about it? I didn't even know. My girlfriend shows up at DMV today, closed. And then she starts noticing other things. She does a little research. She's the one that let me know about this. Thank you, Cindy. National holiday, celebrating an Islamic celebration. It had to happen during the Biden administration. I'm quite sure of that, or Obama. And this has been going on all along, and none of us know about it. Does that bother you at all? It's like, nah, whatever. Yeah, we'll be definitely paid to celebrate their holiday by paying our government employees not to work on that day. These are the people running the state of California. Have you seen this?
In the land of sun and endless tan, where the fires blaze across the land, Governor Gavin's got a plan, but it's as clear as beachside sand. Oh, California's burning bright, but Gavin's dancing in the light. Shimmy, shimmy, watch him go. Leadership just for show. Budget cuts to firefight crews, pouring cash in green pursuits. Hydrants dry, the flames advance. Gavin's doing his little dance. Oh, California's burning bright, but Gavin's dancing in the light. Shimmy, shimmy, watch him go. Leadership just for show. Recall petitions stack up high as smoke fills up the golden sky. Residents left in despair while Gavin's shaking here and there. Oh, California's burning bright, but Gavin's dancing in the light. Shimmy, shimmy, watch him go. Leadership just for show. Governor dear, leading with a grin and cheer. But when the fires rage and roar, we need a leader, not a chore. Budget cuts to firefight crews, pouring cash in green pursuits. Hydrants dry, the flames advance, Gavin's doing his little dance. Budget cuts to firefight crews, pouring cash in green pursuits. Hydrants dry, the flames advance, Gavin's doing his little dance. Oh, California's burning bright, but Gavin's dancing in the light. Shimmy, shimmy, watch him go. Leadership just for show. So here's to you, our governor dear, leading with a grin and cheer. But when the fires rage and roar, we need a leader, not a chore.
I would have changed one of the words there. We need leadership, not a whore, is what I would have said, because that's basically what he is, and what the people who are currently in power in this once golden state of California. Kat Espinda, hello, welcome back to Do Not Talk.
Hey, how you doing, Charlie? Thank you for having me back.
Thanks for being had. Tell me about your friend Tamborine Borelli.
Okay, well, Tamborine Borelli, I met her in 2021 when she was running for Secretary of State. And she spoke at the Benton County Republican meeting. That's where I first heard of her. She was, giving her speech. And when I was listening to her, I recognized that her authenticity, her heart to really, truly stop election fraud. And so right afterwards, I made sure when the meeting was done, I ran up to her and she was talking to somebody else, and I kind of waited. And then I said, "Hey, sister, I've been waiting for you." And she's like, "Okay." And, we are partnering together and uniting with people who truly want to see the will of the people push forward. But as you know, we have election fraud going on at the highest levels. And we have people out there that are fighting, but they're trying to clean it up afterwards. And what Tamborine has come up with is brilliant. And I am the Crosscheck USA spokeswoman. So I've been helping her. We've been getting on shows. We're starting to promote Crosscheck USA and what it does. And nobody really can explain it better than Tamborine. I just want to give a little preface. I consider her a sister. I consider an amazing friend in this battle against the deep state, because, and people who have all of these reasons to not unite, my message to them is that we all need to unite. It doesn't matter even really what we believe. If we see the corruption in the background, if people know that they're being lied to, if people realize that we are being frauded in the system and that people are being selected, not elected, just like your little Gavin Newsom thing there, that was pretty funny, but no, it's true. It's all a show. And until the people wake up to the show and actually start doing something that's going to move the needle towards us being free, and we're not free until we have free elections. So I'm here. I'm supporting Tamborine Borelli and Crosscheck USA and the mission. And I believe it's the only shot that people have in this country to bring us back to fair, free elections. So,
well, let's get Tamborine Borelli into the mix. And Tamborine, I understand you've had an accident that has left you scarred in a way. And welcome to Do Not Talk. First time on the show.
Thank you, Charlie.
Why the eye patch? My pleasure, by the way. I'm looking forward to meeting you and getting to know you better. But what happened to you?
Well, 2022, I'm running for Secretary of State here in Washington. Not because I had delusions of grandeur that I was going to win, because I know probably more intimately than most just how utterly compromised our election system is. My intention was to expose the many layers of how the fraud takes place, election fraud. As I was campaigning, uh, I think I really can boil it down to the first time I felt something happening to my face. I was at an outside event, and I started feeling heavy, uh, and there were twitches happening in my nerves here, in my nose, my eyebrow, and my chin. So this was a subtle, gradual change. I didn't really think too much of it. I thought maybe my nerves, because I was under extreme amounts of stress because the uniparty, deep state, especially on the right side, right, they were hammering me all across the state, uh, calling me all kinds of, I mean, just the stunning lies that they do to everybody that stands up to try to free the people from their hold. Fast forward towards the end of this campaign, I made a post on X. At the time, it was a picture of Washington State and all of the counties that were red and all of the counties that were blue. And my post said, I may need readers, but I'm not blind. Does this look like a blue state to you? Now, it went crazy, a million impressions. My inbox was flooded with nasty messages. You're an idiot. Land doesn't vote. Population, blah, 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 right? This is meaningful because I didn't read all the messages, obviously. In 2 years went by. Now, in August of 2023, since my face was not getting better but worse, it was clear it wasn't just a Bell's palsy thing from COVID or a virus, right? So I go in to have an MRI. The dates are important. August of 2023, a year later. And in the MRI, it shows I had a lesion, which is damage to my seventh cranial nerve. And the doctors in that ER told me I had a vascular tumor sitting on my cranial nerve. Now I'm thinking I have a tumor in my head. So now fast forward, that was 2023. In 20, a year after that at least, right? This was like 6 months ago. I'm going through my X account, deleting all these nasty messages because I converted it to Crosscheck USA X account from my Secretary of State account. I get all the way down to one of the first messages, and this is what it said. It was chilling. It said, sorry to hear about your brain lesions, and who knew that land doesn't vote, or some comment about my post, right? I just barely just tracked that in that moment. I was like, oh wow, how did they know about that? Whatever. I didn't think about the dates. Later on that night, I'm doing farm chores and I'm filling up the water trough, and all of a sudden I just like pause. I'm like, that was 9 months before. That was November 12th, 2022. 9 months before I ever had an MRI that told me I had a lesion. So they're arrogant. They wanted to let me know they did it. And because here's the meta communication, the unspoken communication, why they paired it with my post about blowing the whistle on this is not a blue state, right? And just my election fraud work in general. You are rattling the truth up, kicking up dust too much. We did this to shut you up, to pause you, and this is why, right? So we want you to know we did this, and shut up, basically. But instead of shutting up, listen, this is clear to me. I have no fear of them if they were allowed, because even the devil has to go by a code for whatever reason, right? And I've been told by spiritual, uh, prophetic people, however you want to call it, that I'm surrounded by 9-foot angels that are called um, linked angels, linked arms in the north, south, east, and west. And anyone that comes to harm me in the work that I'm doing, me or anyone I love, that they will be destroyed. I'm not afraid, but I know they were allowed to do this, so I accept it. But it's not shut me up. Obviously, I'm here speaking to you, and my life's work is making sure that the people of this country, I don't care if we go back to hand counted paper ballots and one day voting and everything is the way it should be. The people always, always will need a system that is parallel, that the power structure does not control. Because as long as there are power and powerful people who want to stay in power, they will figure out a way to cheat. So we will always need something to cross check the official vote total.
They know that we as voters are ridiculously shallow when it comes to appearance. That's why this nation doesn't have short presidents. Even we don't vote for anyone who we don't perceive as well. We on the right, unfortunately. I mean, on the left, you get Nadler and clowns like that, ugly little trolls who will ascend to great positions of power. But on the right, no, we want another Ronald Reagan. We want somebody who looks good, sounds good, and presents themselves as being just better than everyone else, which is weird to me. I don't know why we're like that, but unfortunately, we are. We are. That's the reality of it. So they have effectively knocked you out of holding public office in the state of Washington, at least. And you're thinking that that was done deliberately. How would they do that?
So first, just if I can address, we don't have real elections, CharLee. So people even like Nadal, the ones that you mentioned, everyone is selected. No one gets in unless they've chosen you, right? And I could care less about elected office. Until things are aligned, it doesn't even matter, right? Because you could be in office, but you're totally ineffective until the power structure aligns with we the people. As far as how they did this, interestingly, I've been speaking to Grok about it. Grok, Elon Musk, I believe it's Elon's AI. Is
Yeah,
that
it's
true,
on
Kat?
X.
Grok?
It's the AI for X. Yeah, we
Okay,
get
got
a
it.
paid subscription. Yes.
Got it.
And completely different conversation than with Chat GPT that has parameters. Grok is interested in truth, right? And I wish I had another phone I could bring it up and read it to you, but it is stunning. Absolutely agreed that there is technology that could have done this. Radio wave frequency, ultrasound frequency that could have pinpointed an infrared directly to my cranial nerve uh, and fried it. And here's the thing, I just had a second MRI in January, right? This was a specialized MRI. And some interesting things happened. It was as if they were trying to prevent that from happening because Grok uh, said there's a potential that there's tech in my head. Because ever since that second MRI, which all of a sudden I'm changing into the gown, and they call after and they say, "Oh, Miss Borelli, something strange has happened. It's saying that your order for the MRI has expired at midnight last night." And I'm like, "How is that even possible?" They said, well, it is. You'd have to pay for this $700, thinking that I'd probably say, "Well, forget it. I'm not going to do it." The lady took it upon herself to call personally, pushed it through. So I get in, I lay on the table, they put me in the tube, and then all of a sudden, instead of a half hour, it takes an hour because the machines keep shutting down in the middle of me in the MRI. She says, "This has never happened before. I don't know what is going on here." Grok said that the potential of some tech in my head could have been shutting the magnetics down. And you know, it was really it was really cool to listen to a very impartial intelligence pointing out not only is this possible, but everything that you're saying of what your work is, and the fact that they had the arrogance to tell you that they did it, and then this, the scheduling thing of the canceled order for this, and then the machine shutting down. They did not want you getting that MRI, because you know what that MRI told me? I do not have a tumor in my head. It is the exact same measurement, 2 centimeters. A tumor is either smaller or larger, not the exact same size. It is scar tissue, 2 centimeters on my cranial nerve. The scar tissue, Grok said, could be enveloped. It could be a tech with like a filament of some kind that was either an antenna to track or to monitor. But whatever it is, here's why. Because since the MRI, I hear a buzzing in my head, like an AM radio frequency. And when I turn my head this way, I can hear it. It happens like, and I hum it, and they're in notes, it's like, and sometimes it goes, I mean, if I put an antenna from my ear, I can pick up a radio. So, I never told you that, Kat.
No.
But, these things are real. The type of technology that they have is, 50, 60 years ahead of what anyone thinks. And if in the 60s, in the Warren Commission time, when the CIA director gave to Nixon what was called the heart attack ray gun or whatever, it was nanotechnology that could give someone a heart attack from across the room and leave no wound in the 60s. So, I've been a loudmouth for 8 years on the left and on the right. I was a Bernie supporter for 5 minutes, never was in politics before that, became a Trump supporter. On the left and the right, I have been an unapologetic, anthem singing, one who has refused to be quiet about the truth of how we get secure, transparent, and publicly verified elections. And that's a threat to them. So that's the real meat and potatoes of it, CharLee.
This is insane. This is frightening as hell. The sad thing about it is there's probably people who feel the way they do, but stuff like this will just stun them into silence again. The position.
Well, that's where the rubber meets the road, CharLee, because listen, we are living in the time where you either have a knowing of the Lord God, right? The Almighty, who I believe's hand is on this time and on the people who were born at this time to help free this land. And so you have to have an understanding. Look, you can, those who seek to save their lives will lose them, right? We can't be afraid because the Team Dark, right? Team Dark capitalizes on the frequency of fear. Right? That's how they win. But if you know that you are surrounded by the love and protection of the Lord God that created you for this time, and you do not blink, and instead of running from them, you turn and you run towards them.
Yeah.
Right? There's nothing that's going to happen to you.
That's
Ephesians.
Right.
And if it does, then it's the will of God, and I'm okay with that too.
There you go. What people don't realize when they go Secretary of State, I don't even know what they do. They're integral in elections in all the states, and you're up in Washington State, which, like California, you're polluted by a huge population group that are all on board on the left. And unfortunately, it dominates what's happening in the rest of the state, which Washington State, like you said, used to be very red. So was Oregon. But now you got, so many people in Portland that they're controlling what's happening in the rest of the state. Here in California, it's San Francisco and Los Angeles, and that's the Sodom and Gomorrah here. and the rest of us are at their mercy until people start standing up and fighting against it. And the only thing they seem to respect on the left, because so many of them are just polluted with attorneys, seems to be legal action. And what's going on with Crosscheck USA? Please tell us about that, Kat.
Oh, well, so what right now we have been um, doing shows, putting out the message of what is going on in the background, and I want to emphasize that it's not just the left or the right or left, but it's also the right and the rhinos and the uniparty that Tamreen was mentioning earlier. We have people that have infiltrated this movement for the people, and they speak as if they are for election integrity, but it seems to be that they are more for controlling the narrative. And I don't know if you hear there's a kind of a weird sound going on.
I know. Speaking of controlling the narrative, all of a sudden we have some kind of audio problem here going on.
Of course.
Nothing I can really do on my end, but this is not the first time. Do you know what MK Ultra is? I'm sure you do.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
talking with a great patriot up here in Northern California, and we start talking about that, and all of a sudden she gets cut off. And then I get her
Yeah.
back on
Happens
again.
all the
We
time.
start talking about it again. Boom, she goes away again. This is very real. What's happening? This is frightening as heck, but it empowers me. I'm with you, Tambourine. We got the Lord on our side, and I know that. And Ephesians 5:11 says, "Be no part of the works of darkness, but instead even expose them." So I'm going to keep on doing that. So please, even through these audio difficulties, whatever's happening, please stick with us. If I could, on a show note, Tambourine, if you can click on your settings, which is that thing that looks like a little cog in a machine, that little wheel right below your picture there, and you click on settings, and then you go to audio, make sure echo cancellation is actually on. I'm sure it is, but that might be part of the problem. I don't know if
Yeah,
you're
it's
able to
not
do that.
me. And my echo cancellation is on.
Yeah, so is mine. So, Tambourine, are you able to do that?
You know,
Let's take a
the
second. Let's
problem is,
take a second to see if that'll fix the problem.
so because I'm on my phone, it's kind of hard to see
I understand.
because I don't have my glasses, my readers
I
on.
understand that too.
But do you think it's coming? Because where I am, it's very quiet.
That's why I'm thinking it might have been an
What-
echo cancellation thing. I don't know. Well, let's proceed. Let's just, regardless of any audio difficulties we have or whatever's happening, or if anybody's even, trying to make sure this message doesn't get out properly, don't let that deter you from listening to what we're about to learn. Crosscheck USA. Tell us about that.
Okay, so in 2020, I was investigating not just the presidential race, but Washington's gubernatorial race. And the people's choice that year was Lauren Cole. And within my investigation, just very simple math, I saw that there was in upwards almost 500,000 votes that, seemed to just be shaved from his total. And I had the thought, I said, man, if we could just get affidavits from every voter that voted for Lauren, he would have standing in court. They could not dismiss it based on standing. And so that's really the seed, inception of Crosscheck USA. So basically, its purpose is for a candidate, their whole campaign, every rally they do, every speech they do, every phone call they make, every interview they do, they are registering, not their voters registering to vote, right? They are registering their voter base on Crosscheck USA for the purpose of, fast forward to election day, and this is by the precinct level. So when people say, well, that's going to be a hard bill of sale to get all of the voters registered on. We don't need all the voters registered on Crosscheck. You know what we need? We only need more than what they're going to shave off a popular uh, candidate for the people, and because that's what they do. They did it here just this last election with Semi Bird.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he won the super majority of the party, 73%. At the last minute, they throw a rhino in, so they have somewhere to divvy the votes up, right?
Yes.
There was so many votes for Semi Bird, they had to delete 670,000 votes right before our eyes. I took a snapshot of it. It's on our cross-check. If you go to our X account, the snapshot of the totals for that night. They held it at 0% for 20 candidates. Meanwhile, the totals kept rising, and then all of a sudden 70,000 votes disappear, and then all of the candidates' percentages come up. That's called a zero hold in tech. So anyway, what Crosscheck will do now, Semi was registered with us, but he got cold feet because the uniparty trolls in the Republican Party here dissuaded 10 candidates, all were conservative candidates, dissuaded them from using Crosscheck USA. This is very important for people to hear. This is the virus. This is the enemy within the Republican Party. They put out a hit piece, a bogus investigative report on Crosscheck USA saying it's a Democrat scheme to sell people's contact information. Now that is some shameless wickedness right there, because those 10 candidates all lost their races without any way to prove if they had won, and some probably did win. I know Semi won.
Mm-hmm.
So if Crosscheck, now mind you, Crosscheck's purpose is to have the whole campaign. Sometimes that's 2 years. 2 years of registering your voter base, right? It's like money in the bank. It's an insurance policy. It's the Doge of election integrity, right? Because come election day, when the powers that be turn on their algorithms in those machines and flip votes and program percentages of what each candidate they want to have, then Crosscheck, the candidate, gets all the data from Crosscheck. So in this precinct, that precinct, the state total says this, and the affidavit backed up totals say this, that they then can take to a bona fide election contest withstanding something we've never been able to have, and prove this is what this candidate have, and they won the race. So that's the idea. That is what the intention is with Crosscheck USA.
Yes.
Kat, you're knowledgeable on our Constitution. You like tambourine. You're up in Washington State, correct?
Yeah. Yep. I'm on the east side. She's on the west side. So we're covering Washington State from west to east here.
The Constitution, at least federally, national, our U.S. Constitution is very clear about any kind of election integrity. If there's any kind of question about something not being on the up and up, you're supposed to toss the whole damn thing out and start all over. But yet they've successfully doing through campaigns like what you were talking about against you. And these are people on the right.
These are people on the right. Absolutely.
So-called on the right.
This is crazy, but
they're plants, CharLee. They're plants.
Yes, absolutely. I believe that's absolutely true, and it's happened here in California too, in our own Republican Party here. We just got done with our convention, and this is from my friends at WeThePeopleCA.com. WeThePeopleCA.com. Thank you very much, Mike and Marilyn. I love that. Rhino-proof California, or the California GOP, but they weren't successful at the convention. We have a serious rhino who's now calling the shots for the whole party. Corinne Rankin is her name. She's the new chair of the party, and this is can you give me some light at the end of the tunnel? Because a lot of us are feeling very, very frustrated, and I'm afraid we're going to get to the point, even with our big win nationally with President Trump. I'm afraid we're not going to show up for the midterm elections, which is vitally important if we're going to keep the House and the Senate for our president to be able to get anything done.
That's why it's so vital, Charlie. Why something like this is so vital, because what happens in 26 or 28 when Trump isn't on the ticket, right? People have to really absorb the importance of having their will be able to be tracked and verified, right? Crosscheck USA, from my vantage point, someone who has been working on election integrity for 8 years and pushing the hand count, hand marked paper ballots, no machines, one election day, right? You talked about this Islamic holiday. Why not have a holiday for our elections, right? You can pay people to sit out at home for another whole country's religion, but you can't pay the people to sit, not to sit, but to be able to have that whole day to go and vote. So even with those things in place, right, Crosscheck USA, from my vantage point, is the only thing we've got to be able to ensure the integrity of the election outcome, whatever that it is. It's as I said, the Doge of election integrity. That's why we're trying to get this word out, Charlie, from east to west of the country, because Crosscheck USA is available in every state. And for initiatives and referendums, you know how important those are.
Absolutely. And hey, Charlie, I have a video that I want to share. Can I share my screen here?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm going to pull this up. Give me just a second here. Now, this is it's on the crosscheckusa.com website. And it can kind of give you an idea of what Crosscheck USA is all about. It's really cute, kind of based on like Schoolhouse Rock.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, here we go.
Hi, I'm Billy Ballard. Remember when I used to be counted by hand on election night? Yeah, you always knew somebody would come away disappointed, but at least everybody accepted the results because the tallies came straight from the people. Sadly, those days are long gone. It's been over 20 years since a programmer named Clint Curtis testified before Congress that he had been commissioned to create a program designed to secretly fix an election. Today, that hidden program is used in the voting machines entrusted to count your votes. That's why high-profile voices on all sides of the aisle have raised concerns about electronic voting machines. So I'm asking my cousin, Miss Crosscheck USA, to step in. Take it away, cuz.
Why, thank you, Billy Ballard, and thank you, candidate, for making a commitment to run for office. You and your team put so much time, money, and let's face it, doggone work into your campaign that it would be downright shameful if even one of your supporters' votes wasn't counted. And that's why I'm here. Think of me as an insurance policy. And while I can't guarantee you'll win, if you really do have the votes to win, I'm here to prove it, and it's just so simple. First, sign up your campaign with crosscheckusa.com. Next, make crosscheckusa.com a part of your website and campaign materials so your supporters know you're serious about protecting their votes. After the election, verify your Crosscheck support easily and quickly through your secure account. If there's any undercounting in the reported results, I'm here with the legal verification of your actual support. And crosscheckusa.com utilizes the highest level of cybersecurity available on our private servers, so you know all of your information is secure. So next time they say, pay no attention to what's going on behind the curtain and just trust the system, tell them you shouldn't have to trust.
You should know. Go to crosscheckusa.com to get started. Go to crosscheckusa to verify your vote.
All right, there we go.
It's like Ronald Reagan said, trust but verify.
Right.
And I
That's
don't
right.
trust our elections at all, especially here in the state of California. I don't trust them one stinking bit anymore. We have millions of people now voting thanks to Jerry Brown before Governor Hairdo. We had Jerry Brown make it legal for illegals to get driver's licenses. And then all of a sudden they come up with a motor voter law to where if you have a driver's license, oh, by the way, you're registered to vote. But yeah, but not you illegals. You're not allowed to, but yet they are, and we all know that they are. And this is insane. The whole COVID thing, the scam there, for your own safety, we're going to send everybody a ballot. But I serve in the capacity in the military I can't talk about because of my political stance, and on this show I can't even talk about what I do. But I have a sergeant who received 5 ballots. He's been in the same house for 20 plus years. He received 5 ballots. Like, what the heck is this all about? Knowing that the majority of people on the left are going to take advantage of that. And they're going to fill out those ballots, and nobody's going to come after them, and nobody's going to investigate, at least in the state of California. Is this happening where you are as well in Washington?
100%. And you know what's worse about that, Charlie, is whoever gets that ballot in first, right? Sometimes those 5 ballots can represent derivations of a name, an initial, or spelled a little differently. Each one creates a whole voter ID. And the problem is, here it was so bad, and this is what I campaigned on. I was telling everybody, look, all someone needs is your birth date and your name. They could go into VoteWa, right? Change where your ballot gets sent, or can fax in your ballot and vote it, or walk it in and vote it. We have people on camera going into this to the auditor's office saying, hey, I lost my ballot, or it got destroyed. Can I have another one? Yes, what's your name and birth date? Says it, doesn't ask for ID, and then hands the ballot over. And now if that ballot got voted, the real person, if their ballot was received second, the real person's vote would get tossed out.
Why would just an ordinary person, legal here, legally or illegally, why would they go to that kind of effort and trouble if they're not getting any money out of it? Well, on the left, they believe that they are. They worship the government. The government is their religion, and they vote and do everything they can to make sure people who are going to keep the freebies coming to them are going to stay in positions of power. How do we fight against that? Well, what you're doing with crosscheckusa.com is obviously giving people a way to legally say, wait a minute, look at this here. And the courts can't say, no, you don't, you're just, this is all hearsay. You don't have any proof. Well, now you do, don't you? Because
That's
these
right.
people registered as saying, and they've said, yes, I did vote for so-and-so. And here's how many of us, by the way, how much did they lose the election by? Did our votes even count? How do you track that kind of stuff? It's daunting. And
Charlie, one thing that Tambourine mentioned earlier is about Sammy Bird getting 600,000 votes, how that was shaved and distributed amongst the other ones that were running. And can you imagine how powerful it would be if a candidate registers a campaign with CrossCheck USA and they end up having on election day 800,000 votes, for an example. But the mainstream media and the government reports you have 8,000 votes and 2% of the vote, something very minuscule, very small, but you have actual affidavits in advance under penalty of perjury showing that you have 800,000 votes. Can you imagine how powerful that would be? You would win with proof. And that's what we're doing here. We want our candidates to have the ability to win with proof, like the other 10 that pulled out last year. They all lost with no proof. So win with proof or lose with no proof. And we're in a time where elections are rigged. And California GOP, I'm talking to a lot of candidates in California. The California GOP has already chosen their picks for 2026. As soon as the 2020,
I can't fix these audio problems, but I thank you for your patience and because this is vital information. I hope you don't tune out because it's like, oh, there's technical problems, so I'm not going to bother continuing to watch. Well, you're missing vital information here. This is something that I cannot control or cannot fix, and I can't explain. It's never really happened before. All these sound problems all of a sudden.
I am so sorry.
There's nefarious things going on. There are things working against us in catastrophic ways. Unfortunately, they've been successful, which I want to see end. We need to get an app. I realize now I'm no longer fighting against Democrats. I'm fighting against an apathetic Republican Party.
Mm-hmm.
My own party. I'm not going to leave
an infiltrated one.
Infiltrated one on top of all of that. Yeah. Having run for office like you did, Tambourine, and a very big office, which unfortunately people don't realize how important that is, especially when it comes to elections. The Secretary of State controls much of that. They didn't want somebody like you in there. We had the same thing happen the very same election down here in California. Her name is Rachel Hamm, solid conservative, strong believer and follower of Christ Jesus, and vocal about it. So they targeted her in the most obscene ways, and that was through ignoring her. They did not give her a platform. Yeah. They didn't let. And did they do the same thing to you in Washington State?
They attempted to censure me. It was leaked to me, and then I exposed it, so it was dead. But I have the document of them, their proposal to censure me. And basically,
go ahead.
Yeah. And I was running, mind you, as an America First Republican. That's what it said on the ballot. And you know what they said? That's not a real Republican. That's what they said. And so they did not support me. They didn't put any of my literature anywhere in any of the offices, any of my signs, nothing. Zero, goose egg. Because, what does that tell you? That is a completely loud statement. America First Republican is not a real Republican, right? What is a Republican if not for if you stand for a Republican form of government, that is putting our country first, America first. So the fact that they completely disconnected, disavowed, and tried to censure an America First Republican candidate tells you everything you need to know. That's the problem.
I have friends, since I really got involved with this show, I have become good friends with people who are running for office, real deal, true conservatives running for office as Republicans in the Republican Party, who are telling similar stories to me, Tambourine. This is insane. I'm an actual delegate with the California State GOP, so I'm there voting. I'm seeing what's going on every 6 months at these conventions. I'm seeing the fraud. I'm seeing the problems with the electronic voting systems. Questions pop up. We just recently had a sign pop up on the big screen that none of us were supposed to see, saying there's a problem with delegates voting. And they completely ignored it, even when somebody got up on mic and said, "What the hell was that?" The chair gavelled him out and said, "You're out of order," and turned off his microphone. Another woman got up, Dalila Epperson, got up and started talking about what's going on with the CAGOP in the central committees, gavelled out, shut off her microphone, threatened to remove her. This is insane what's happening in our own party. And then those clowns, those pigs, those swine are turning around saying, "Oh, if you're Make America Great Again, you're not a real Republican." This is crazy what's going on. And
100%.
I appreciate what you're doing so much, because this, I think, gives them some hope, gives those, because until we have good people running for office, we're going to just keep getting the same thing. But when we have our own party who are making it more and more difficult for good people to actually run for office, this is unwinnable. This is got to
That's
change.
CharLee. See, now you hit it right on the head there. And, you know, you say how you feel about it, and it's genuine. You're sick of it, right? You're frustrated with it. Everyone is sick of it and frustrated with it. And no one knows what to do. But listen, the fact that you said that you have relationships with these real, genuine candidates that love this country, the strongest, most powerful thing that you could do is connect them with us so we can empower them to be able to verify the integrity of their election outcome, right? Because without it, it will be just like it always is, the definition of insanity. Everyone,
Yeah.
every election season, as if we all don't know. It's mind-boggling,
It is.
right? Like what the hell,
It is. I've been saying "what the hell" a lot over the past 4 years.
right?
What
It's
the hell?
true.
Kat, where do we find you? How do we get involved?
Well, okay, so a few things. One is we are looking for people who are wanting to stand up and help us. We need people in every state on the ground and approaching candidates with Crosscheck USA. And another thing is, and I've got Leopold, he's going to be on the next show that we do for Crosscheck USA. We are inviting real candidates who want to do the will of the people onto a show that I'm going to be putting together. And it will be a panel of candidates to talk about the granular issues, such as putting food on the table, the things that matter to the people. Because as you know, there's election fraud, there's fraud coming out of our ears in every single direction. So we're going to have this panel. So if you know any candidates who want to participate in this, we want to make this a weekly show where we have real candidates come on, and everybody else can check out their candidate as well. But we have, again, these infiltrators who are already pre-selected by the GOP, and they are the puppets who are going to make sure that we are not free.
That's what our
So
states parties are doing with these general elections. You'll have a true conservative that the central committee of some county put forward and go, yeah, this is a good person. We have vetted them. They are who they say they are. They're strong conservatives. This is who we're backing. And then the state party will step in and go, yeah, we're throwing somebody else into the mix in that same race. And they're an obvious rhino. They look good. They sound good. And they will split the vote. They'll literally lose an election just to keep a true conservative from holding office.
Not with
That is
Crosscheck USA around. That's how we're gonna stop them from doing that, CharLee.
good.
Kat, tell them how to get a hold of you as far as your email, our X account, and all that.
Yes. So I'm going to just quickly just share the Crosscheck USA X account so that everybody can go there. We would love for you to just hit that follow button. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. Here it is. All right. So there we go. Okay, so here is the Crosscheck USA account. Please hit the follow button. And this is on X, and this is where we'll be posting information. You can find out the information Tambourine was talking about earlier on the skewing of the votes. And then also I can be reached at Kat, K-A-T, at crosscheckusa.com. And of course, the website is www.crosscheckusa.com. So you can, anybody can visit there, watch the videos, watch all of the proofs.
And register your campaign directly on the site if you'd like.
Absolutely. I also have a presentation. So if somebody's not sure, but they just want to check it out, contact me on the email, and I'll set up a time, and we'll put a Zoom meeting together, and I'll go step by step on how it all works. People need to understand, they need to realize that if we don't fix this, we're going to have our children running around starving in the streets. They want us to be, this is what they want for us. They're creating a gap. And again, these rhinos that are in office, they have no moral compass. They have no moral compass. They hurt people for money. And real people don't do that. I believe there's a lot of good people. They're going out to vote, and they think that their vote is counting when it's not. It's all being shaped. And also, I want to mention that if a candidate registers their campaign with CrossCheck USA, they have all of the digital assets. They have the platform, the digital assets. They'll have access to all of that in the background. This is how we do it. Instead of trying to clean things up after, brace for the fraud. Oh no, it's going to be fraud. Let's see. We're going to make sure we're watching the boxes. We're going to watch this. We're going to watch that. We're going to do this. We're going to all these things afterwards. And then nobody wins. They just keep going. It's just like Bob Ferguson here in Washington State. He didn't win. He did not win. Nobody. I don't know one man or woman that voted for that man. But somehow he's the governor, even though his position was dissolved as AG because he is a felon, and he committed malfeasance in 2021. We have criminals running the show, and again, how can we be free in this country if we have criminals at the helm? It's time to take a stand. It's really easy to sign up with CrossCheck USA as a voter. It's free to you. And all you have to do is sign up, under perjury, cast your vote for the man or woman you want to vote for. And if you have a candidate that you want to see win, tell them about CrossCheck USA and have them go to the site and register today. Because
I will.
Yeah, and
Well,
as
Tambourine.
many people as possible. This is how we're going to do it. Get proactive. Know how many votes you have before the election and before the selection comes in from the mainstream media news, which we all know is the Mockingbird media. They read scripts based on what some guy is writing for every single news station in the country.
Yep.
And we already know that.
Right. She's right.
Right?
She's right.
So let's get proactive. Let's stop being reactive to the fraud. Let's get proactive and know exactly, how many votes you have beforehand. And if it's 100,000 more than the mainstream media is reporting, we have proof. You will.
Thank you, Cataspinda. We know how to get a hold of you now. And Tambourine, and thank you for your patience with whatever these sound problems are. This has never happened before. It's interesting when I have shows like this. All of a sudden, there's little technical difficulties. But
Well,
Tambourine,
CharLee, thank you so much.
yeah, how do we find you?
Thank
How do
you.
we follow your story and keep in touch with you?
Yeah, so you can always reach me through the site, crosscheckusa.com, and also connect at crosscheckusa.com. And yeah, I'm always available to do podcasts and get this word out, because this is what we need to do. And thank you for your work, CharLee, and thank you for your time.
Absolutely. My honor and privilege. And there you go. We have a way out. We have a way to actually legally challenge what's going on in our elections. I hope you follow through with it. Anybody who's running for office, send them to crosscheckusa.com, crosscheckusa.com. And thank you for supporting this show. Liking, subscribing, sharing is a big way to help break down the algorithms, which are dead set against all of us conservatives, even on platforms like rumble.com. They can't help what social media does. For example, when I try and post shows like this on Facebook, all of a sudden it will not have a preview. Anything I post from X does not have a preview because they know that most people will never click on it. So stop doing that. If somebody like me posts something and it does not have a preview, click on it anyway, because there's a reason why I put it up there. It's some knowledge for you. It's something that you want to learn. You need to learn. This is not the time to cower. Courageous is contagious. This is not the time for us to shrink back. Now that we have Trump in office, you're like, okay, he's going to fix everything and it's all going to be okay. No, he doesn't have a lot of control over states. And like General Michael Flynn says, local action equals national impact. We've got to be taking control of our own elections in our own states, our own counties, our own cities, our own towns. crosscheckusa.com. Thank you for that. And you can help this show grow at givesendgo.com/DoNotTalk. We're now on GiveSendGo, and I love them. They actually sent me, somebody called me and left a voicemail message praying for the success of this show. Somebody from GiveSendGo. I was blown away by it. It was greatly encouraging. So thank you, Lord, for them. And please bless them in your name, Lord Jesus. givesendgo.com/DoNotTalk. May God bless you and keep you. May God bless America. But most importantly, America bless God